initial thoughts on the draw?
It's a draw. I didn't think Samford would come here again, because it's a repeat from last year, and just assumed that the NCAA committee would try to avoid it. But at the same time, from a financial standpoint, the only two drivable schools were Samford and UCF. So we were kind of wondering, right? And Todd's done an amazing job. And as we just told our team, they haven't lost since August 24th. And I think since then have given up only 5 or 6 or 7 goals. So obviously we played them last year and had success against them last year. But that wasn't a typical day for Todd and Samford. So they're going to be a good team, and we got to be ready to play.
How prepared did the schedule make you guys? 7 of the teams you guys played in the regular season find themselves in the tournament. What does that do for you?
Yeah, it does a lot, because you just get acclimated to what you play against. And that's the level, that's the standard that you're playing against all the time, right? And, forget rankings, forget RPI stuff. It's what's happening between the lines, right? How fast is the game? How fast is your decision making? What's your technical execution, right? All the pressure, all the things that make you play at a high level. And that's what we've had to do throughout the course of the season, and hopefully that puts us in a place to have success on Friday.
Samford's only allowed, I think it's 0.5 per match on the year. What is it about the system that does not allow teams to get a whole lot of opportunities?
I don't know enough right now about that team. I just looked quickly. I was talking with a friend over the weekend. He's the one that said they hadn't lost since August, and I did a quick look. So I don't know enough. They usually have good players, right, both in attack and defense. I don't know how old they are. I don't know more than what I've shared so far.
How do you handle scouts for the postseason, especially in the sense of prepping for a potential next opponent?
Yep. What we'll do, some of our video guys will put together the Samford, because that's a one game, right? Last year, as we prepared for the second weekend, we had one definitive opponent, right, which we won't think about until after we play Friday, if we're fortunate to move on. And then, we will know our opponent for that next game, and then we'll split up the other 2 teams amongst our staff. So going into the week, and then obviously watching that game live. So 3 different people would be responsible for those 3 different teams.
Still have a couple days before the game, but with the time off you guys got, how are you guys health-wise? Girls feel freshened up?
Amazing. We hated not being in Cary, and that was a real tough pill to swallow. And last Monday, we couldn't wait until this Monday, right? Till we learned our fate and the freaking ACC tournament was over, and we didn't have to watch or know any, think about it, and we could all move forward, right? We all start fresh, and here we are. And we had some players that were nicked up and beaten up and just emotionally and physically tired, and we had a great practice today before the selection show. We'll have a day off tomorrow, and then we'll have 2 days, and we're at full strength.
So do you have any expectations going in about your seeding or what your path would be or anything like that? Does that ever happen usually?
Yeah. My expectation was I felt like we were on the bubble of a 2-3 seed, and I really felt like, a lot of people are saying, oh, you're going to be a 2, you're going to be a 2. In my heart and gut, I felt we were 50-50, because just, there are numbers, there are stats, there are rankings, but there are also humans in that room, right, that are looking at so many different teams. And so my favorite phrase in life is, you never know. You just never know. And so here we are. We're a 3 seed, and we've got a good opponent on Friday.
Was there any disappointment in the room that you saw when you watched it with the team, when your name came up as a 3?
I'm really impressed with their lack of reaction, and we talked about it after training. We said, look, we don't know what we're going to see when we go in there, right? Who knows where we'll be, who will play, but we're a good team. And that's the most important thing. And who we play and where we play is irrelevant. We're a good team, and let's just go be prepared to learn our fate. And so I think that probably supported the lack of reaction. How they really feel inside right now, I don't know. Of course, if we're fortunate to win on Friday, would we rather play at home the second weekend? Of course we would, right? And so that's a disappointment with this structure, right, between a 2 and a 3. but it is what it is. We were home last year. We weren't home on Sunday. Well, actually, we were literally at home on Sunday. We were at our houses crying our freaking eyes out. So you got to go win games. You got to be prepared. You got to be healthy. You got to be determined to go win games no matter where they are.
You think this kind of puts a chip on the shoulder of saying,
I hope so. I hope so.
We'll show them?
I hope so.
Any other questions?
Appreciate it. Thank you, Brian.
Cool.
Cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, guys.